Hello everybody, thank you for watching. This is our Unit 2 Lesson 4 video on naming alkenes and alkynes. So today's objectives is to figure out what the IUPAC naming rules are for alkenes and alkynes, and then we'll go over possible reactions that alkenes and alkynes will go through. So if you remember what alkanes are from our previous videos, you know that they are single bonded carbon chains, very long chains. Our alkenes now, they have a double bond on that chain. So you can see that there's a double bond right over here. Our alkynes, if you remember, they have a triple bond. The next thing we talked about was saturated and unsaturated. So all alkanes are saturated because they all have hydrogens on our 4 spots. On alkenes, we call them unsaturated, and also our alkynes now, they're unsaturated because they have these double and triple bonds in their long carbon chains. So how do we name our alkenes? Let's start with that. So you can see that we have this long carbon chain with a double bond in the middle. The first thing is, like always, you want to figure out what is the longest carbon chain that contains that double bond. And you can see that this is just a 2 carbon chain, and that's just eth. The ending now is ene. So we can call this ethene. Another example looks like this. Again, find the longest carbon chain that contains that double bond. You can see that it's a 4 carbon chain, and that's a bute, and the ending becomes ene now because there is a double bond in there. You want to remember to number the chain closest to the double bond. So we're going to start numbering this way in case we have any attached groups. And then you can start by naming where or numbering where your double bond actually is inside of this really long carbon chain. So we put a 1 here. This tells us that our double bond is at the first carbon, or starts at the first carbon. Let's do another example about alkenes. So we have this really long carbon chain. We want to find the longest carbon chain, and we can see that it's right over here. Then you want to number the chain from the end closest to the double bond. So it doesn't really matter if you have attached groups. Whenever you have double bonds in a long carbon chain, you want to start numbering at the where the double bond has the least number. So this is a 7 carbon long chain, and that's hept, and there's ene. And when you start numbering, you can see that our double bond is between our 3rd and 4th carbon, so we can write 3 heptene. And then you want to lastly list any attached groups, just like last time. And you can see right over here at the 6th carbon, we have a methyl group. So you can use that and name it as 6-methyl 3-heptene for this molecule. So what happens now if you have a carbon chain that has 2 double bonds? So it's the same naming rules, except now we are given the diene or diene ending. So diene is for 2 double bonds. Diene is for 2 triple bonds. So again, find the longest carbon chain that contains that double bond, number the chain closest to the end of the double bond, and then list any attached groups like last time. So you can see that we have 2 double bonds in this example right here. So we can see that the double bond starts at the 1st carbon and then starts again at the 3rd carbon. So this is how we name it. 1,3 dash bute diene to tell us that we have 2 double bonds inside this long carbon chain. So let's talk about triple bonds now, our alkynes. The rules are pretty much similar. You want to again find the longest carbon chain that now contains the triple bond, number the end closest to the triple bond, that should say, and then list any attached groups just like last time. So again, this is a really long carbon chain. We can start numbering where the triple bond has the least number, and then we can see that it is a 9 long carbon chain, so that's 9-ene. And then our triple bond starts at the 4th carbon, so it's 4-non-ene. We also have some attached groups. We have a methyl at 3 and a methyl at the 6. You can indicate where or what carbon they're attached to, and then just write dimethyl because you have 2 methyl groups. So what about this? What happens now if you have 2 triple bonds in a long carbon chain? All right, now remember we're giving that ending diene. So we number the chain. All right, find the longest carbon chain that contains the triple bond, not double bond, and then indicate where we have our triple bond. So we have one at the first carbon and then again at the sixth carbon. So that's octadiene. And then you can see we don't have any attached groups, so we don't have to name them. So let's talk about some reactions now. So alkenes and alkynes undergo a certain amount of reactions that we need to know. So the first one is hydrogenation. That's called an addition reaction, where you're just taking your double bond, adding some sort of attached groups, and then turning it into an alkane. This is called Lindar's catalyst. You can also do the same thing with our triple bond. You can use a catalyst to turn it into a double bond. I hope this video helps in learning our objectives for today, which we talked about our IUPAC naming rules for alkenes and alkynes, and then lastly we just talked about our reactions. Thank you for watching.